Welcome back to the Bleav in Arizona Football podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. I am your host, Eddie Law. My co-host, former Arizona Wildcats corner number 5 in your programs, Mr. Shaquille Richardson, is actually out playing for the CFL's Toronto Argonauts, stacking up wins, getting those stats, and just doing it big. But he will be back very soon to break down every game and give you an analysis and insight on everything in Arizona Wildcats football. Folks, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, the thumbs up button. Leave a comment or review. It would be so kind. Helps us grow. And tell your friends about us. If you have Wildcat football friends, even if they're not Wildcat fans, why not? Tell them about us. Tell them to hit up the show. Come hang out with us every single episode. We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as we're heavy into both college and NFL seasons. As always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, more props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website, betonline.ag, or use your mobile device to sign up to receive your 100% welcome bonus. That's double your initial deposit just for signing up. Don't forget to use promo code NFL100. That is NFL100, all one word. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Folks, it's been a rough season. We're not even to the midway point of the season just yet, but there's room for hope. There's room for criticism. There's room for analysis, but definitely we're not blind to the predicament we find ourselves in as an Arizona football program. So what has happened so far this season? Kicking off at the very first week here, BYU went to that game in Las Vegas, very optimistic. We weren't too crazy, guaranteeing wins or anything like that, but we were expecting a very good performance, and we got a pretty decent one. Gunnar Cruz, who started the starting quarterback, coming over from Washington State in the transfer portal, threw for 336 yards. Michael Wiley, 64 yards rushing. Stanley Berryhill, and you'll see this as a pattern as the season goes on, as we talk about the last 5 games. He ended up being our best offensive weapon. So he comes up 102 yards in that game. Then we go into San Diego State. Again, we did pretty well against BYU in Las Vegas, considering, right? Moral victories. BYU's been together for a long time. Going to San Diego State at home, and we take another L, 38-14. Will Plummer ends up with most. In fact, let's go ahead and look at the stats on that game. So this is where we start at the point of Jed Fish came into the season talking about he wants to have a 2 quarterback system, right? Which works better in college, not in the NFL. Obviously, that doesn't work very well in the NFL. But a lot of people, the old saying has been, if you have 2 starting quarterbacks, you have none, right? So Jed Fish came in and with both Will Plummer and Gunnar Cruz, they're gonna share starts, time, and all this stuff. So Will Plummer got the most of the playing time, I guess, in this game, going 8 for 17, 109 yards and a touchdown. Gunnar Cruz, 10 for 19, 70 yards, a touchdown and a pick. And, if the quarterbacks go, the receivers go too. As you can see, Tavian Cunningham, 5 catches, 81 yards in a score. Stanley keeping it going, 5 catches, 67 yards and a touchdown. So, again, going to game 2, still, okay, optimistic. We're still brand new. We're trying to figure out what we're doing here. For lack of a better term, we're still a pretty damn new team. And we have a brand new head coach who's never been a head coach before. Then we hit what I would call rock bottom. And that's when the NAU Lumberjacks came into Arizona Stadium and beat us for the first time since 1932. Nobody could have predicted this happening, right? So, hired Jed Fish. At first, the Jed Fish hiring wasn't very popular. It was not a popular hiring. A lot of people wanted an alumni, somebody that played for Arizona to coach, and there was guys that wanted it. Sure, their coaching resumes weren't very large, but we wanted them, right? Instead, we got Jed Fish, who has had a lot of jobs in college and the NFL, but also glowing reviews from guys like Pete Carroll, guys like Bill Belichick, and more importantly, he brought the alumni back, right? At the spring game, you had Rob Gronkowski coaching against Ted Bruschi. Shaq was at the game. A lot of guys, Kaysen was at the game. Antoine Cason, all these other guys coming back
Wow, this new
to
Coca-Cola
come back
Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke
you know,
ever?
impose knowledge on the
No.
team and on the young guys there. So
Yes.
it was
No.
great,
Yes.
right?
No. Yes.
And
No.
the first 2 games, right, all right, cool.
Try it first.
BYU,
I
we
need to
get
try it
big,
first.
powerful teams, and we're obviously more experienced than we are. San Diego State, okay, all right, we get that. NAU. That's where a lot of people are saying the honeymoon ended for the honeymoon period ended for Jeff Fish and the Arizona program. Coming into Tucson, like, sure, you see the passing numbers, and you'll see this later on when we talk about where we're ranked as far as what we've given up passing yards wise and everything. But RJ Martinez, 11 for 16, 88 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Okay, didn't hurt anybody. But Kevin Daniels, 27 carries, 127 yards and a touchdown. RJ ran 6 times for 43. That is not acceptable at all, right? Like, if you take away the pass like we did, like you should be able to control the running game. And as Shaq would say, a lot of the secondary ended up having to make a lot of tackles. That front seven was not doing their job really. For our team, for our offense, Will Plummer, 19 for 34, 191 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Sure, young guy. Last season when he played, he wasn't expecting to play. This season he was expecting to play, but still, very young guy, brand new head coach, new system and all that. We weren't expecting a lot out of him. Jordan McLeod, and this is going to be, later on we'll talk about. Jordan McLeod actually came in, all right, with a breath of fresh air, 6 for 7, 66 yards and a touchdown, and in garbage time, but still a touchdown. And we ended up losing by 2 points, right? Defensively, if you look on here, and again, Drake Anderson, 12 carries, 72 yards on the running game. Stanley Berryhill, still doing it big. 11 catches, 94 yards. 2 scores for Boobie Curry, who we're expecting to be a big part of his offense, and he really hasn't been there very much. We'll talk about that. Again, turnovers. We fumbled the ball. We lost 2 of them. Or sorry, we got back 2 of them. We lost 1. And it's just bad. Defensively, you can see a number here: 1 sack, 7 tackles for a loss, which is good, right? But only 2 pass breakups, I believe no turnovers, right? Or maybe 1 turnover in this game. Yeah, 1 turnover in this game. 2 turnovers, sorry. Christian Roland Wallace and Kenny Herbert. So this one was the one where everybody was. I mean, I always check the forums after the game, see what people are thinking, what fans are thinking, and this is where you got the amount of negativity coming towards this, towards Jedd Fisch specifically, but also the program. So 0-3 at this point, okay, and unfortunately 0-2 at home, which is an uglier stat. Then we go into Eugene, Oregon, and face the number 3 ranked Oregon Ducks, and we get spanked. Now, Jedd Fisch said, all right, Will Plummer ain't doing it. Gunnar Cruz ain't doing it. We're going to start Jordan McLeod. 21 for 35, 233 yards, and a touchdown, and 5 picks. This is definitely one of those see what you got games, right? Because after pick number 2, you would think Gunnar Cruz or Will Plummer would come in, right? But no, he let him fly. So, he did carry the ball 9 for 69, carry 64 yards. But, I mean, 5 turnovers. No wonder we lost 41-19, right? As you can see there on the breakdown, we were down only 17-7 in the first quarter. Then we got a field goal. They had 7 more. Then we dropped 9 points in the third to get it real close. And then they dropped 17 on us in the fourth quarter. So, defensively, we lost a lot of gas there, but still. And he paid attention to the running game of the other team, the opposing running game. 5 carries, 92 yards. How, Sway, as Kanye would say. 11 carries, 45 yards for Verdell. 1 touchdown. 12 carries, 41 yards. They don't seem like big numbers because we compare them to, like NFL running backs who average like 90 to 100 yards a game. But to have 245 rushers and 192 rusher is ugly defensively, right? Receiving wise, other than a big play by Jalen Red, nobody put up monster numbers, right? They were all very, red zone touchdowns and stuff like that. And a lot of it had to do with the interceptions. Don't get it twisted, right? More than likely would have had a lot more yardage passing wise if it wasn't for the turnovers. Defensively, 1 sack, 9 tackles for a loss, 4 quarterback hurries or hits on the quarterback, whatever you want to call it, 1 pass breakup. Those are not acceptable for winning numbers. But again, top 5 team, the Oregon Ducks are always really good, high flyers. So, we went to this game sort of expecting it to be really hard, but we weren't holding our breath for a win, right? Then UCLA comes to Arizona on October 9th, and unfortunately, this is where the wheels started to come off a little bit. Sure, Jordan McLeod played well, 21 completions on 30 attempts, 182 yards, but no scores. Jameer Joyner scored one on a trick play to Michael Wiley. And then, the rushing game was all right. It was cool, whatever. Jordan McLeod got hurt. And all indications, including head coach Jed Fish, is that it's not a short-term injury. He's going to be gone for a while. Gunnar Cruz came in, went 4 for 7, 48 yards. Yeah, it's nice and everything, but we ended up losing the game. Defensively is where it hurt us. Now, in the first quarter, we were only down 7-3, right? Then we ended up catching up, ended up being like a 13-14 at halftime. We were losing by 1 point. Then UCLA dropped 10 on us in the third. We only had out a field goal, and then they dropped another 10 on us in the fourth. And that's why the score is what it is. The game was, playing wise, it was a lot closer than it looks like on the scoreboard, but it was still a loss, right? So now we're sitting at 0-5. No wins at all, but definitely no wins in the conference. And you got Jordan McLeod's out, so we got to find out whether we're going to have Plummer or Cruz. And you got to wonder what we're going to do here, right? Like, what is a head coach Jed Fish going to do about this, the predicament we're in, for lack of a better term? So yeah. Now, if we look at the rankings here for the Wildcats, this is where you kind of get like the big picture started. And again, rankings don't mean a lot as far as when it's like, objective, but subjective is different. Like, there's concrete evidence, right? Like, Arizona ranked 75th in the country for yards given up, 75th out of 130 teams, right? 109th in rushing up. That is a major problem. If you go back to the UCLA game, if you see right, let me pull it up here. I'm gonna have to pull it up for you guys because it doesn't show. It usually gives you a little thing right here, but look at their rushing right here. You had Britton Brown, 12 carries, 146 yards and a touchdown, and Zach Chabernet, 21 carries, 117 yards. You can't have that. You can't have that, because they're scoring and they're killing the clock at the same time. So defensively, we know what we got to do. We got to stop the run, right? I mean, DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's not the best passing quarterback ever. He makes mistakes. He threw an interception, right? But he's a great play action guy, a pretty good play action guy. But he's also a very good, runner. He takes off, right? But their running game was really good, and our run defense was awful, just terrible, right? Ended up losing 34-16, which honestly, a lot of people were actually being a little more optimistic about this loss, if we can be optimistic about any losses, than even the Oregon one. But it's still ugly. Like, you can't lose to UCLA that way. So keeping on going with the rushing or the rankings here, we do rank 8th in the country for pass yards given up, but don't get too excited because that's because everyone's running on us. Although I will say our secondary, is solid, right? They're solid, but they're just running on us all game long. There's no reason to pass on us too much and risk interceptions, really. Offensively, there's no consistency at all, right? 118th in points per game, 85th in total yards per game, 97th in rush yards per game, and 50th in pass yards per game. I don't even have to keep talking about rankings. You guys, you see the whole story. Inconsistent on both sides of the ball. When we're not really sure what the problem is. Is it a leadership issue? Is it a personnel issue? Was Fish not ready for this this job, for this head coaching gig? Is it too early to criticize him for it? For a lot of people calling for his job, forget it. Okay, forget it. The fact that they had to pay Kevin Sumlin so much money to not coach, and then they gave Jed Fish the contract he has, we're gonna have Jed Fish for minimum 3 years, minimum. Probably more, but minimum. So this season's, one of those see what you got type of seasons. And again, in college football, the head coach is recruiting and all that. You got to wait to see who he gets, who he's able to implement to his system. Can he get the right personnel for his crew and all that? And then we'll find out what he is. Until then, we just got to kind of hope. So let's look at the rest of the season here before we call it a night. At Colorado next weekend, 12:30 on Pac-12 Network. This I'd love to be optimistic with you guys and tell you this is our best chance at a win, but this is going to be another tough game. Every game for us is going to be really hard. So Colorado's 1-4 on the season. 1 win over Unco. Who exactly? The Northern Colorado Bears. Come on, folks. Okay, we should be able to get a win. That's basically their NAU, although we did lose to our NAU. But they took a loss to Texas A&M, 10-7. Okay, ASU trounced them 35-13. Minnesota shut them out 30-0. USC 37-4 lost to USC 37-14. Which, by the way, USC isn't the greatest team this year, but their personnel is still pretty good. And against the pass, they're really hard to beat. But either way, now they have us this weekend. We're kind of like each other's best chance for a win in a weird way. So just looking at that game, every game in college football is a must win, but in order to not make it 18 losses in a row, you have to win this game. Have to. Okay. Look into the rest of the season. The next week we get on October 22nd, we get the Washington Huskies coming off loss to the Oregon State 27-24. Obviously they get UCLA this weekend, so we'll see what happens there. I believe this is Arkansas State that they beat. Yep, Arkansas State. They beat Arkansas State. They lost to Montana. Yeah, the Montana Grizzlies lost to Montana. Fair enough. The Pac-12 on paper always looks nice, and then in practice is a little different. Then we get USC at USC in Southern Cal, and again, not the greatest team, but still a pretty good passing attack, and they got a lot of personnel. Then at home, November 6th against Cal. Then November 13th against Utah. Utah's having a weird season. 3-2 so far. They beat Washington State. They beat USC, in SoCal, but they lost to both BYU and San Diego State, who we both lost to as well. If you guys remember, Utah last season was really, really tough. Now, these last 2 wins, they've changed quarterbacks, so they're pretty good. We'll have to wait and see what we land on November 13th. November 19th at Washington State, and then November 27th in Tempe against Arizona State. Look, I don't gotta tell you guys that every game is a must win from now on. From now on, every game is a must win. Every game in college football, again, like I said earlier, every game is a must win. But these games, like, you gotta win them. So, and I know we're gonna lose again for sure. Just going off the last few games, sure enough. But there's no tomorrow on the rest of the schedule. Why not just go nuts? Go after it. Make a play. See what happens. So we'll see what happens here. Again, quarterback-wise, McLeod's out for a while, and he's not gonna be back anytime soon. If you guys saw the injury, it was ugly. And so we're gonna be playing with Gunnar Cruz. We're gonna play with Will Plummer. Has either guy made any progress in practice? Have they learned anything sitting behind McLeod, watching, learning, seeing how the plays are going, seeing how the system works? We'll find out. We'll find out this weekend against Colorado. We should win this game, but we'll see. All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Oh, don't forget, this Saturday, the Wildcats head to Folsom Field to take on Colorado Buffaloes. Kickoff is at 12:30 p.m. Weird enough, we actually get a daytime game. Why doesn't the Pac-12 get daytime games, by the way? All our times are at night. That makes no sense. But kickoff is at 12:30 on the Pac-12 network. Can our guys finally break this losing streak? Let's hope so. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Bleav in Arizona Football Podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. Please remember to subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you tell your friends about us and help us grow and everything. The Bleav in Arizona Football Twitter is at Bleav in AZFball. It's also our Instagram and our Facebook. And make sure you follow Shaq on Twitter and Instagram at DR4_unruly. That's his IG and his Twitter. I am at Ela32 on Twitter and Ela52 on Instagram. So if you want to come see some pictures of memes and stuff like that, just come hang out and do your thing. All right, shout out to betonline.ag. Go sign up and place your bets. Again, NFL 100, you get double your deposit. Go get it. It's easy, free. So yeah, for myself and Mr. Shaq Richardson, I am Eddie Law. See you guys next time. Go Wildcats. Bear down.